So actually, one thing that I figured out that I did but didn't do it intentionally was, or I just did it on a couple of occasions, is I actually went away with people that I was with, and I found that that was a really good test to actually see how a person was, and I figured out in these two instances that the relationship would discontinue after that trip because I saw things in their character that I didn't see when we were just hanging out every now and then, because my work was always very busy and I was always upfront with that. I was like, I love my work. That's always a consistent thing. We will hang out, whatever, when we plan, once or twice a week early on, whatever. But then when I found, and, like when you see someone once or twice per week, initially, I find that it's always pretty good. You're going for dinner or you're just hanging out, you're doing this, you're doing that. Everything's stress-free. You're not really talking about super, super deep stuff. Maybe you are early on. I don't know. But when I went away with people, I was like, ooh, like things at dinner that you see, like a meal's coming out late. You kind of see. So I remember I was with someone, and this was like an international trip, right? So it wasn't just a small trip, It's a decent trip. And we were waiting for our food to come out, and it'd been a while, and we ordered, like, there was only 6 or 7 people there, and we were on an island. It was the only restaurant on the island, but beautiful island, tropical, all this kind of stuff. So it was amazing, and I was like just enjoying myself, and I literally couldn't care less if the food came out 2 hours late. You know what I mean? Like, you're on an island, it's amazing. The sunset's over there. There's an infinity pool there. It's just like, it's gorgeous. It's hot, sitting outside. And I'm like, oh man, it's taking quite a while. So I go and talk to them. They didn't even put the meal down, right? The ticket wasn't there. So I was like that. So the girl that I was with was just like really pissed and was like, this is unacceptable. Like real big kerfuffle.
She was hungry.
And yeah, which is, fair enough. But it came out. And then it was like the complaint that the fish is too oily. There's too much salt on it. So she's getting like serviettes and like, on the fish like that, taking the oil, taking the salt off. I was like, all right, But then she wanted to send it back. So, like, wanted to see the manager, big kerfuffle, big complaint. This is too oily, this is too salty. I asked for no oil, I asked for no salt, blah, blah, blah. Sent it back, came back out. So it's like taking even longer now,
Yeah.
And then when it came out, it was the same thing. There was too much oil, there was too much salt, whatever. And they claimed that they used none. And I was just like thinking, okay, look, we're not professional bodybuilders or supermodels that need to be very aware of, obviously we take our health seriously. I'm a personal trainer. I like training, all that kind of stuff. A little oil, a little salt never killed anyone, right? And we're also not, I don't know, trying to step on a bodybuilding stage. And then she like started crying in front of me. And I was doing my best to be supportive, but it's a pretty tough gig when you're like crying over oil and salt. And I was just like, we're kind of like missing the picture here. You know what I mean? Like yes, it's about the food. It's about this, but like you zoom out, we're on a holiday. We don't need to be anywhere. We don't need to, I don't know. Anyway, so that was like the first red flag for me out of many that I saw on that trip. Like that was just one where it was just like, this could have just
playing it out, thinking like, if it's happening over fish, what if something bigger happens, right? Like, is that the kind of relationship you want where someone's, but for her, like, not to necessarily jump in and defend, but it's like
Go
for
on.
her maybe like we never know what's going on with someone's backstory, right? So it's like, why did she get so upset about that? What was going on internally for her? Did she feel like, maybe, I don't know, there's all kinds of different possibilities, right, that could factor into that. Like maybe she was just a bit hormonal and hangry. Maybe she had, it brought up some stuff of like someone not doing what she asked for before, a previous event like that can get triggered. Or some people just, are very particular about those things, right? But either way, it doesn't necessarily make her a bad person or whatever. It's just, that's not how you want a relationship to go down, right? You prefer someone that's a bit more laid back about those things, or that's, a bit more relaxed around food.
Yeah, I guess. Sorry, no, you go.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that's fair, right? It's like they're the incompatibilities we see, and we go, oh yeah, that's not gonna work for me, right? Like I need someone a bit more chill who can just concentrate on what's going on and work with what flows.
Yeah, I guess my thing was, like, I think I'm a very like I can be very, intense at times, often when I'm working. But like if I'm relaxed or like on holiday on an island, I feel like that is the standard that we need to zoom out and just kind of appreciate, have a bit of a laugh about it. Okay, like let's just wait for the next one, blah blah blah. But it just kind of got like intense quite quick, and it kind of got me by surprise. And then it kind of happened again on like a couple of other occasions where we went to like a food court, and it was the same thing. It was kind of around food, and maybe it was, her thinking that the oil or the salt affected the way that she looked, and she wanted to, look a certain way on holiday because it was still, a relatively early relationship. I'm not too sure, but there was other things obviously outside of the food where I'm not going to go through the whole trip, but it was just kind of like where I felt like there was a bit of entitlement that I kind of don't possess. I'm like, I don't kind of see myself as this person that like, everything needs to be perfect for, and that I should be kind of catered around, where I feel like in some instances, there were times where she kind of felt above, I don't know, the kind of, or maybe every other person should be treated a little bit differently. And for me, I think that just triggered something in me where I'm like, I'm very much like, we're all the same, whether you're a millionaire or a janitor or, whatever, this or that, or if you've done this or been on TV or you got a big following, like we're all kind of people at the same day. We all take a shit or, we all do this type of stuff, to make it real non-glamorous. But I think that's, and once again, finding out more about myself, that's what I prefer. And maybe, she will go on to meet someone that meets those needs, and they, and they get along well. But I don't know, that's kind of something that I found out that I didn't find out just hanging out once or twice a week. Like I had to kind of, get on the plane. And there was a time where we were on the plane where, she lied about something where I was like, okay, I don't like that. It was...
So you're building a picture, right? It's not just the isolated... Because that's the thing as well. Like, I think when these things happen, like in isolation, if it's just one-off, you'd be like, oh, maybe she's, feeling a bit sensitive today, or, that's not her standard. She's got preferences for whatever reasons. Maybe she's got health things that factor in.
Yes.
We don't know. But it's not like that's not the isolated event, right? There's other things that layer on top, and you build this picture and you go, yeah, that's not going to work for me compatibility wise long term, because it's like when you're stressed or you're tired or you want to relax, you want someone that's kind of on that same vibe with you.
Yeah, exactly. Like she kind of had too much to drink on the plane, right? And
so she was
vibing, yeah. So this is like on the way over there, and then she like vomited. Right.
Oh.
And I was like, it's because you've had too much to drink. And then, it was like, no, I was sick. I think I got a bug. Like, and I was sitting beside you, like, the whole trip. And I don't know, it just felt weird. And that's where the first red flag was. And that was just the flight over there. So, I guess over there, I was just kind of like looking for things like, lying is obviously potentially a trait of a manipulative idiot. Not saying that this person was.
Well, yeah,
but
it can be.
But it's a trait that, like
it's
like,
shame as well, right? Sometimes, like someone might
true.
lie.
Oh, that was definitely, I think that was definitely part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was just something where, I believe that could just be a laugh. Once again, or just being like, oh yeah, I had too much to drink. Not like, oh, I think I had, something bad to eat. I think it was food poisoning. Like, it's like, I'm not that silly. You know what I mean? Like we ate the same food, and anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but I think I was just kind of touching on the kind of vacation test, where
it's a stress test, right? Like you're traveling through an airport, stressful anyway, right? So it's like high intensity and proximity, right? Like you said, sometimes you might see someone once a week, twice a week, and then all of a sudden you're like, right, let's do 4. Even with your best friends, like you go away sometimes with friends, and you're like, oh, leave me alone.
Yeah, I did that when I was like really young, like 11 or 12 years old, like best mate, like being together on like rugby trips, tournament, playing sport. And then we went away for like a week somewhere, and I was like, sheesh, you know what I mean? Like, but like still best mates today, but I don't know what it was. I think it was just like the concentrated time together. I don't know. But you really do kind of, I think I just figured out I need space sometimes. Some alone time.
You figure out who you can go on holiday with. I've got a good friend who go on holiday, and we know like we can go our separate ways. We just sit by the pool, and she'll just be reading a book. I'll be like listening to something, and then we go back to the room, and like we have like a quiet time, and that's just how we roll. But like we don't, you know, like, whereas if I went with someone that was like, had to talk 24/7, 365, never shut up, I'd be like, I can't cope with that. There
Yeah.
wouldn't be no second holiday.
Yeah, that's something that I appreciate too that I didn't really know at that time. But like for example, I like to train, so I feel a bit like not myself when we're going away and like there's no time for that, for example, because that's something that grounds me, makes me feel
Yeah.
like me, like I love it. It's my work, but before it was my work, it was a passion. So
Yeah.
like if I don't get that time, I don't know, I just get a bit antsy. I'm just like not really there until I can go and do that, and then I'm like, oh guys, I'm back. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Self-care, isn't it? Like, just taking that time to do what you need to do, just so that then you can show up for people around you.
Yeah,